Backrooms. I made Backrooms in 24 hours? Nah, just a game update. It has been some time since the last video game update, and my excuse is basically the same as last year. I had school, and I had to go there almost every day. Actually, it was like 4 times a week, but still. I mean, I technically didn't have to go there, but you know, if I stopped attending classes, they would probably kick me out. And then I would have to find a job, which is, you know, worse. That's what I'm being told at least. I mean, I kind of had a job in the meantime. It was like an internship, and it sucked. Yeah, honestly, I think I just don't like working. Like, in my opinion, everything should be free. Like, if some politicians make that a thing, I would vote for them. Anyway, if you're new here, I am an amateur software developer, and I am currently documenting my mostly failed attempts at making a video game on my own graphics engine in OpenGL. The game I am making is supposed to be something like The Binding of Isaac, except in 3D and in abandoned Soviet bunker instead of the, I don't know, it was like a basement, I think. I remember. That is at least what I am aiming for. How it's gonna come out in the end, that's impossible to predict, and I'm not really in control of that. Anyway, up to this point in every update I would basically scrap everything I made in the last one and start over. Like Sisyphus, I was carrying this game on my back, and when I finally had something I could show to the world, I would drop it from the mountainside just to pick it up later again. And it's because my code is kind of shit. If I took a break from programming, I would really get lost in my own code after I come back to it, so it was often easier to just scrap everything and start over and maybe even improve it. But this time it was different, and I haven't scrapped everything, so let me show you how it went. So I started by redesigning the map generation. Last time it was very unfinished, it was basically hard-coded into the game, and I wanted it to be, you know, random like in The Binding of Isaac. So I decided to make it closer to how I originally envisioned it. I mean, I never had any particular vision of it, I'm going purely based on the vibe really, which might be one of the reasons why it's going so poorly, but whatever. All I knew is that I have to generate rooms and corridors, and then make it look like a bunker. And if you think about this, rooms are like big boxes, and corridors are type of rooms, so also big boxes. So modeling them in Blender would be unnecessary because I would be effectively just exporting a default cube. So I decided that room meshes will be generated entirely by the game. Maybe not entirely, just most of them. Here you can see that the boxes are indeed generated. For some reason they have hole in one of the walls, which I'm not sure why that is, and I'm not sure why I decided to record this in this state, but it seems that in the next clip I removed it, I fixed it, I removed the hole. Yeah, so I recorded those videos over a long period of time, so I don't really remember some of them. You can also see that when I clip through the wall, the box changes shape. And this is because I am going through different rooms. I just don't have any doors at this point, so the only way is to clip through the walls. So when I had a basic shape of the room done, I decided to finally get rid of this rust texture, even though I kinda like it. I'm still using the same textures I made in the first video. I don't remember if I mentioned it last time, but this wall texture was sampled from a photo I took in an actual abandoned Soviet bunker. And this color scheme with darker yellow on the bottom and brighter yellow on the top, this is how everything in the communist times was painted. Like every school, every hospital, even staircase in my comic block is still painted this way. And of course when I loaded textures, they were all over the place. Some of them were sideways, some of them upside down. It was an easy fix though, so I moved to making entrances, so that I don't have to clip through the walls anymore. And it was also a little scuffed in the beginning, but I quickly fixed it. And at that time I decided that this is the right time to add some shaders. And shaders I added, but as with everything else, it was really bad at the beginning. So before I show you, I would like to issue a very bright light warning.
Deploying flashbang.
It looks like this because normally the brightness should decrease with the distance from the light source, but I forgot to enable this in my shader, and all of the light sources just started to adding up, and it became like one big light source, very bright. And it was an easy fix. At least it would be, if not the fact that I had to reverse engineer my own shaders to find a variable that was responsible for this thing. Apparently I called it CFDIM for some reason. I think I might be just bad at programming. I mean, at least it's better than shit or ass, which I also use as names for my variables often. In the end I fixed it, and I had nice light sources everywhere. There are still no shadows though, even though I added shadows in one of the previous updates. I just decided I don't feel like using them anymore. I mean, besides pure laziness, early games didn't have shadows because it was impossible to make them, and I am aiming for like retro type thing, so I don't think I really need shadows. Also Minecraft doesn't have shadows by default, and it's doing just fine. As I said before, I really don't like how static this game feels. So I decided that it would be nice to finally add some enemies to the game, you know, to have something moving on the screen. And I didn't do it. I mean, I started modeling them in Blender. This was the first time I was modeling a humanoid thing in Blender, so it might not be perfect, but I was also watching Cruelty Squad, so I didn't really care. I didn't add them in the end because I didn't really know how to do animations. Like, I didn't know how to animate in Blender and then how to implement animation in my engine. And for some reason I feel like getting this done would be very difficult. I didn't want it to implement enemies that would be just running around and T-posing. Then I proceeded to enable the feature I have added in the last update, which was paint peeling from the walls. And it looked like this back then, but of course now when I tried to run it, it turned into this thing. And as you can imagine, this is not how it's supposed to look like. This happened because peeling paint is part of the room mesh, and for some reason it was shifted in the memory by one vertex. And because of that, entire room was shifted by one vertex. And because of that, GPU just freaked out and did whatever this is. It was an easy fix though. I just shifted it back where it's supposed to be. The peeling paint is just a 3D mesh added onto the wall. I'm talking about this more in the previous update if you for some reason are interested in a peeling paint. This is how it would look like without a wall texture. For some reason I added it to every model in the game, even this grave texture. I don't remember why I put graves in every room, but it's not important, I guess. And this is how it looks like with textures. Looking at it side by side with the previous update, I feel like the previous update was better. Anyway, if you look at the corridors, it seems that there's something missing. I mean, there are a lot of things missing because it's just unfinished game, but they seem kind of empty. If we look at these bunker photos again, we might notice that there are a lot of pipes and wires and stuff. So I decided that this is the right time to add some of that. So I made some like random wires and pipes in Blender, and I also quickly changed the texture of the floor and the ceiling to something more floor-like and ceiling-like, I guess. I think I will have to revisit my textures at some point because I don't really feel good about them right now. I mean, some of them are fine, I guess. I mean, I got used to them after so much time. They were never meant to be like final versions, but I don't know, we'll see, I guess. Depends how lazy I will be. Up to this point I was focusing mostly on the corridors, so I guess now it's time to work on the rooms. So I did some interior design. I started from the filter room, because in my opinion it's like the most interesting thing you can see in an abandoned bunker, if you find one.
These rooms are supposed to filter the air from the outside in case of chemical or nuclear attack. They should have filter absorbers and air promos. Filter absorbers are just a bigger version of the filters you screw onto the gas mask. Old Soviet ones often contain asbestos, so you shouldn't break them open if you find them. Also, if you have a nuclear shelter by any chance, you might want to find modern filters just in case. If you had a fallout shelter in the city, you should rent it to someone. People would pay big money if it's in the good place.
Unfortunately, when I imported it to the game, it looked like shit. And it was again because my shaders were not working properly. I made it better at some point though. After that I proceeded to make some more rooms. I made storage room, cafeteria, restrooms and the conference room. I also tried to recreate some of these posters I saw. I made like pixel arts of them. It was a bit difficult to fit them in the small squares, but I think it came out okay. An extremely important feature I have added in the last update was trash on the floor. I mean, after all, it's an abandoned bunker, so there should be a lot of trash lying everywhere. But I have been told that my trash doesn't look like trash enough. So that's what I try to fix now. I started in the same way as last time. I generated a bunch of these weird square-like vector fields. I don't know how to call them. Then I changed their texture to something more dust-like. I mean, this is just a noise texture. Then I added some transparency so you can see the floor underneath it. And in the end I lowered it so that only small chunks of it are visible. And this is more or less how it was last time. So to make it more trash-like, I created few random objects, like this bottle of these sheets of paper, and I make it so that they randomly appear on the floor. I also added this weird patch of sand. I don't really know what's supposed to be, but I just wanted more things on the floor. And as time goes by I will add more random things, I guess. You can tell me in the comments if it does look better, or if I'm just completely missing the point. In the end it's just trash, so whatever. Last thing I wanted to add in this update was particle effects. Because you know, this map feels very static as I said. So I wanted to add something at least moving in the background. around, and this place is abandoned, so it should be very dusty. So I decided to add some dust in the air, or ghost orbs, if you like that. I started by adding these random white squares, changing position every frame. I decided to use instance rendering instead of batching them together, because they are just squares. I don't really need a vertex buffer for them. I can just define 6 vertices in the shader, and yes, square has 6 vertices, not 4. You're being lied to and brainwashed by government, don't be a sheep. And I made them only spawn around the player, and then disappear if they wander too far. In the beginning it looked rather like snow than dust, but after I slowed them significantly and made them change direction slowly, it started becoming more like a dust. I wanted it to look like this particle effect from Minecraft when you're in Nether. That one's supposed to be like ash falling from the sky or something, but this is more or less what I tried to achieve, and I think it came out okay. So in the end, this is how it looks for now. I think it's better than last time, but there's still a lot of work to do. In the end, it started looking like some Backrooms level 69 type shit, and believe it or not, Backrooms is not what I'm aiming for, but I can control it, so if it goes backroom route, it means it had to be that way. The good thing is that I can put Backrooms in the title of this video, which is beneficial for me. Anyway, that's it for this video update. I will try to make something soon. I have some other project ideas, like a lot of them. I want to make some electronics project because electronics is what I'm studying right now in school. Okay, maybe it's something better than that. So if you're interested, you can, subscribe, like, I don't know, things like that. Suggestions in the comments. And yeah, bye. Then I made them smaller so it looks like small dust particles. And I made them spawn only around the player. And I made them spawn only around